Hey, it's Bettina, and I have a confession to make. After all that happened since March 2020 and all the time that I spent with my family cooped up at home, I am itching to go out and travel again. Do you feel the same way? Have you thought, okay, as soon as you can, you want to travel potentially with your family, bring the kids along, bring the hubby along, bring the wife along, and do that for a week, a month, maybe a whole year, but you have no idea how that could actually work, how you could make it happen? Then I have the perfect guest for you today. My guest is Celeste Orr. Celeste is a certified adventurer and out-of-the-box thinker who had been traveling for 7 years with her husband and 2 children. And she's here today to debunk 5 of the most prevalent myths that keep us from going out there and living the life we desire. Well, after today, you may think differently. Welcome, Celeste. Hi.
Thank you so much for having me, Bettina. I'm so excited to speak about this topic. I have a couple of myths that have come up for us in our travels and in our different way of doing life that I would love to really bust today or dispel those myths for people. So, the first one is that you have to wait until your kids are out of the house to do what makes you come alive. Or for maybe women who have had kids who are now older and they have grandkids that depend on them. We have to wait until a certain time to have the life we love. That is absolutely not true. Maybe it was in the past, but today it no longer is, because there are all kinds of tools at our disposal. We stay connected to our extended family through things like FaceTime. We can always have a trip that we get to visit with them. We can still be in people's lives without, always having to be there in a certain way. Also, kids or grandkids or family members can always go with you wherever you need to go. Or if you want to do life differently, you can always envelop the people that you love into that lifestyle. So the second thing I would say is that we've heard you have to wait until you retire to travel extensively. If you love travel and adventure, a lot of people wait until they retire. We've met a lot of couples in their 60s, 70s, who see us on the road with our young children and say, I wish we had done that when our kids were young. Because now that we're older, we have to travel a certain way, or we have to do this. And I'm so quick to tell them, no regrets. You still have family members. You still can do things in your way. And I like to encourage people about remote work, because when we started traveling, we were in our early 30s. We weren't retired. We didn't have a trust fund or anything like that. We had to work full time. So I went to my employer and I said, I really value your work. I really value what we do together. Could you employ me full time online? They said, no, we can't. I said, is there any part of your work that I could do that is online? And they said, we'll see. So I had to make a little sacrifice and decrease my income, decrease our expenses for a while. But as soon as I started working for them remotely, and they saw what level I was giving them that was honestly better than what I gave them in person, because I was more alive, I was more creative, I was living the life I loved. They were addicted to my work. And they moved me up to management position, where I only went into the office a couple times a year. And now I'm a consultant for them. And I also have another consultant contract with a similar company because of the work that I've been able to give them. And that was only available to me because I've become more alive doing what I really love. So women, whatever industry you're in, whether it has a technology component or not, starting that conversation in your career with the people that you work with and saying, what piece could I do remotely? What could I give you that's valuable? And now, I've doubled my income from what it was when I was in person. And I'm very, very proud of that because it doesn't speak to what I've done. It speaks to what's available to all of us when we access the part of life that we really, truly love. It's available for anyone, I truly believe.
That is really fantastic because it also shows that if you make the necessary steps, I mean, you approached your bosses and were not deterred by the first no. I'm guessing you heard no a couple of times before you found the niche that both it worked for both of you, to not be deterred and just really being open to what is possible when you start to have the conversation.
Right, right. And I'd just like to say, creating an online business is easier now than ever before, So that is the story for a lot of people. And I do have my own online business, and, I'm a writer and author. So I still have this other piece of me that works for other people on not in the nonprofit world. But my long-term hope is that my writing could one day be valuable enough for people that I do have book deals and contracts and those things. So I have a short term plan and then I have a long term plan. And right now, I don't think it's ever been easier for a woman to start an online business in an area of life she loves, start serving people, and turn that into, an income that she can really depend on throughout retirement, even.
Yeah, I think 2020 showed a lot of us what is possible online for us. And I have a question, please. From your experience, you're working with women around the world. Give me an example of maybe two women that are working or worked in an industry, like being an author or a journalist like I am. It's logical that we can do something online. But are there a couple of examples of clients that you helped, women that you helped establish themselves online, that were working in an industry where it's not such a okay, yes, of course kind of step?
Yes, absolutely. So, one of my friends now is a registered dietitian. So, she works for the CDC and she edits articles for them. But as she has started to think about her own personal life and personal journey, she turned her personal story of breaking out of dieting and, all of these negative messages that we have for ourselves. And she wrote a book and she helps women come out of their body image issues into life. So that would be one. And another is, I know several women actually who are photographers, and a man also who's a photographer, and they love doing like wedding photo shoots or family photo shoots, which seems to be location dependent, right? But I've seen them turn their love for photography and art into a traveling business where they book clients all over the world, and they also take amazing landscape photography, that they can sell online or that they can leverage to help other people in the photography realm. So whatever your niche is, I think, you can think about the people you help with that niche. You can also think about helping your peers and developing, an online business in that way. So myth number 3, you have to be wealthy to travel full time. And, we are talking about you can still work and travel as much as you want to. You can still work and be location independent and use your creativity, leverage that creativity to bring in an income and even build your retirement for later in life while you travel or do whatever you love to do. So myth number 4 would be that you could never homeschool or you could never write. You could never, X, Y, and Z. I have noticed and I have been connected to so many people who have really opened up life for themselves. It truly is amazing what is possible when we just say, what if, to ourselves. So when you hear yourself, or, honestly, this happened to me last week. I heard myself say, well, I could never X, Y, and Z. And I was in a conversation with someone who said, oh, well, here's someone who just did that, you know. And I was journaling about it this morning. I have been limiting myself in that area. So when we start to explore opportunities and possibilities, I truly believe if you're meant to do something, there is a way and you can find it. So myth number 5 would be that you have to be a certain way to do what you love. So I love to travel and explore the outdoors. So I've heard people say, oh, I could never do that, because you have to be like this crunchy, nature loving kind of person, with like, you have to look a certain way or dress a certain way to be that. And I love busting that myth for people. You don't have to be a certain way to do what you love. I love the outdoors, but I also love putting on shiny earrings, because my mom loved that and she gave them to me. Like, you don't have to be a certain way. Once you open up those possibilities, you can go a long way towards your dreams.
So, and there you have it. There is nothing now that stands between us and the road, right? However, if you have further questions for Celeste and me, just post them in the comments below. And also let us know, where would you like to go next? We're super, super curious and here to help you take the next step. And also check out my longer interview with Celeste, in which she talks about the ins and outs of traveling with kids. Right here, also linked in the show notes below. And if you're a parent itching to get on the road, this is a must video. I highly encourage you to check it out. Whatever you wanted to know, you may find just below in the description. And I see you on the road.